Hello and welcome to Grustia and Thracia Castle, my farm of 0% growths, low turn count playthrough. So, I could do each castle separately, but there's almost nothing going on in Grustia Castle, like I only kill one enemy. So I decided that it would be best to just have one long video. Because this chapter is really short. And, I accidentally skipped that, but another funny part's where I go much faster than the game. The developers probably didn't think anyone would ever season 2 turns. You can do it even without the rescue staff, so I don't know why they assumed that. But anyways, there's a conversation where Charlot talks about how sad it is that his dad's being forced to fight when his dad is already dead. May he rest in peace. Maybe I should play the sad music, the sad death music for units who could be recruited. Whatever, I don't care. Anyways, here you'll just see the greatness of leg ring, night ring, dancers, and a rescue staff, and how insanely fast you can cover ground. Cause, yeah, it's just, wow. I don't even capture Thracia, cause there's no point. Maybe killing the boss at some point to get the return ring he has might be useful. I don't technically need a third return ring, but I could sell it for cash. And unfortunately the villages above, no one can really get to them because I complete this chapter too fast. There's no convenient warp point, and Fee doesn't need the money, so there's no point. I move away Fee 1 square back here because I do not want him, even on 0% growths. Altena has 50 might, so that's pretty scary. I do not want to be Oifi to be hit by that because he'd probably die. She also has high accuracy because Galbog. So yeah, he just edges up a bit, gets some kills. Lightsword needs it. I mean, it doesn't need it because it's already in crit range, but the further into crit range I get it, the more reliable it's going to be next chapter, so. Yeah, that's really the one long-term goal thing going on here. Oh, rip Altena. In a different playthrough, maybe you could do something. In fact, it might actually kind of hurt me not having a second flyer. Like, not as much as... Not enough that would be worth waiting around to recruit Altena, god no. That would just be absurd. But enough such that it'll be a problem, because in the final chapter, I'm kind of emulating the Nico video playthrough as much as I can, though obviously they're 8 turn of the final chapter, though obviously I can't quite hit that. I think I'll get a 9 or 10 turn just because 0% growths. But from that, it looks like I might need 2 flyers. 1 to draw the Barons near Frege out of the way so that I can get cells nearby, so... Although, if worst comes to worst, I can always just have Aless tag along for the ride and punch through an enemy, but... Yeah, having 2 flyers, not having 2 flyers might cost me a turn, actually. Nowhere near as bad as... God, I don't even know how many turns I'd have to wait around for Altena. I remember that back before I had Rescue Staff Leaf and I was playing this map, and I got a 13 or 14 turn of this castle. of this map. I still lost Altena, so yeah, God. I do not know what they were thinking. I mean, even playing at a reasonable pace and not this breakneck pace I am, you can still easily be way too far ahead of her. And Trabant comes over, he's not actually doing anything, he just disappears. I have no idea why they attached the Draconites to Grustia Castle. But actually, even if they weren't, I still probably wouldn't recruit Altena just because Leaf's needed over here to save turns. And here, with the wonder of the rescue staff, I entirely bypass all the threats of this castle. I just dance, rescue. That's it. That's all there is to it. And Salus is going to get a rigged crit. It's actually not too bad on this boss because Great Shield doesn't screw things up. And he also doesn't need 2 crits. He can get a crit and 2 hits, and a few hits as well. So very short RNG abuse. Don't even have to skip this part, which is probably a relief for you guys after all these super long, super unreliable kills. And Celis seizes. Doesn't have to fight any of those. And Trabant disappears. Another plot hole. After this, Aryan, you know, has to do all the shit because Trabant is dead, but he don't actually kill Trabant, he just disappears once again. Developers underestimating us players. And here having Jan to return Oifi is actually a complete necessity. You'd think it wouldn't be that important, but he needs all the movement he can get to be in position to kill some other enemies and get more kills on the light sword. So I think near the end of this chapter I get the light sword. It's about 65 kills, which with the skill ring on Shannon is about a 43% crit chance, which combined with his continue and Astra skills means he should be able to and the magic ring will get him, means he should be able to one-round a lot of enemies at 1 to 2 range, which is good. It's needed because the Rotten Ritter is probably, I'd say it might even be the hardest fight of the game. Let me think if there's anything else. It might be the hardest fight of the game simply because there's no way to skip it like other things. And the Balmung isn't enough because no 1 to 2 range. But yeah, Oifi's getting in position. Thankfully, since another good thing about not seizing Grustia, I mean not Grustia, sorry, Thracia, is maybe I could get the same turn count, but then the enemies would separate. 1 to attack Thracia and 1 to attack Cappadocia, and in that case, Oifi wouldn't be able to get as many kills, because now there's just this one blob. And Shannon's warped over to Grustia. I obviously don't have any way. I could maybe deal with Aryan without him. Yeah, I probably could, but it'll cost me turns, but the rest of the enemies I have no good way to deal with other than Shannon. Actually, back when I was first trying out, and I was very averse to RNG abuse, my strategy to deal with this was actually a Lex Arthur. Kind of my equivalent of Boots Douglas in a way. Because I was playing so slowly with so little RNG abuse that I could actually get that pairing almost on time. But yeah, obviously now it's impossible, so I actually, well, I didn't have rescue staff. Didn't have rescue staff Leaf either, because I thought it was a good idea to do Levin Seti. Once again, horribly wrong, but that's why you do test playthroughs to learn these things. But yeah, so back then I actually had Lex Arthur with Tron and a magic ring completely destroy all of Trabant's goons. Not Trabant, Aryans. But can't do that on this playthrough, and it's alright. With enough rigging with Shannon, and he can do it. He actually doesn't have as amazing dodge rates as you'd think he would. I could give him the shield ring to increase reliability, but forgot to. Also, Celis might need to buy that back, and I think I might actually have a bit of trouble with his cash. It depends on how many times I'm going to have to do. I do this kind of ridiculous exploit with the prayer sword on a male unit glitch and the prayer ring to skip to survive a few really brutal enemy phases, and then to just rescue leg ring skip it, but it's obviously expensive to repair the prayer sword to its full use. Is 8k gold, and Celis can't really do much in the arena because he's getting one-shotted, but anyway, so now there's the super long RNG abuse segment. I'm sorry about this, there's no way to avoid it. Oifi has a slight chance of death. Celis has a slight chance of death. No, a pretty high chance of death. Even Shannon does, because his evade, because the Slim Lance Wyvern Knights have pretty high hit rates, so... And also in here, Daisy will finally take out the General, the final boss of the arena, with Prayer Sword abuse, Sleep Sword abuse, but anyways, skip until 11:55 if you don't want to watch this, so... Yeah, I'll see you then. Welcome back. I'm finally done with this long segment of RNG abuse. So yeah, Arian charges. Oifi, like the baller he is, one-rounds all these enemies. It's the interesting thing. I mentioned earlier in my playthrough, I think as early as chapter 2, that enemies don't really get much stronger in their offensive parameters, like speed and strength, or their defensive parameters, except for HP. The HP inflation in this game is insane. Enemies get such high HP, but really low other stats. In the first generation, that was a huge problem for me, because I didn't have the way to punch through all that HP. I had limited access to high kill weapons, criticals, holy weapons, and skills that could take out armor knights, because my units weren't as good. But in this generation, it's not as much as a problem, because Aless... Oh, by the way, Aless does absolutely nothing. I thought I might need him to clear out a path, but he just came along for the ride. Got his horse some exercise. But yeah, anyways, the HP inflation isn't as big a deal because I have much better toys to play around with. So there were a few other combinations where this actually worked out, or at least everyone survived this phase. Celis is at a pretty hefty risk of death, or getting put to sleep, which is as bad, because then I can't clear quickly. But sometimes a Wyvern Knight would fly over. Shannon wouldn't cleanly kill them because he didn't proc Continue or Astro, which is really unlikely. And then they'd block Celis' path. And there's nothing I could do. It was impossible to get the turn count I wanted. And there was a tiny bit of a pause there, but yeah. And now I have to take down Arian because I absolutely need the prayer rank in later chapters. It takes a lot of rigging. I obviously could just ride straight past him, but it's not pretty. Shannon needs to get 7 hits with Balmung, but do what you have to do. And he actually has a pretty high dodge rate. Arian only has a 58% hit on him, just due to all of the leadership and charisma, which is good. Although the next kill, you're gonna see a lot of RNG abuse, is actually super unreliable, simply because Arian has the prayer ring, and he gets knocked down to 4 health, which means that Shannon goes from having a high chance to kill him to hit him to a very low chance to hit him, and this need for the last hit combined with the necessity of proc and continue twice and dodging. it makes it slightly unreliable. Well, quite unreliable. So come back at 16:15 when Aryan will be killed. And that's finally almost done. Yep. So now Shannon whacks Aryan 4 times. It's good, and kills him. It's good that Shannon gets the prayer ring because it sells for 20k gold. That's essentially another ring Shannon may or may not need. Balmung also goes super low on uses, so he's probably gonna have to repair that because he needs to kill Alvis. And yeah, so let me think. Yeah, Shannon makes 3 big contributions this playthrough. Otherwise, I just don't use him, even though he's really strong. This is the first one. His other one will be taking down the Ron Ritter and Alvis, and his final one will be killing the Axe Knights from Dozel. But, yeah. Just finally getting Seti to clear the arena in case he needs to buy any staves. Or rings. I don't think he needs that much, but it's always good to be safe. I do not want to hit the end of the game and have to replay it just for turn count. So this is complete in 8 turns. Cannot be done any faster, with or without growths. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time.